Good morning, West Shore. Good morning. I am Judy Montgomery, one of your worship associates. I am so grateful to be a part of West Shore because it is a spiritual home for all who are in sympathy with Unitarian Universalist principles and values, regardless of religious background, age, ability, race, ethnicity, gender identity, or sexual orientation. We strive to be an anti-racist, anti-oppressive, multicultural community. We welcome you to embrace these principles and values as well. A special welcome to newcomers. If you're here in person, be sure to stop by the Welcome Center out in the hallway if you haven't already. If you've joined via the live stream, our membership and engagement coordinator, Diane Alcorn, would love to reach out to you. Her contact information is being added to the chat as we speak. Welcome this morning to our guest speaker, Reverend Shirley Nelson, who has been attending West Shore often enough these days that she is an official friend. Reverend Shirley is a certified interspiritual, compassionate counselor and life skills coach. She offers sessions to individuals to explore their spiritual journey with the intention of raising their consciousness and deepening their understanding of themselves and others. A group of West Shore members recently participated in a Serenity Circle she facilitated here. She is now in the middle of another 6-week Serenity Circle at Rocky River Senior Center. I want to acknowledge the rest of our worship team today, our music director, David Blazer. Vocalist Acacia is here again this morning. And we, as always, thank so much our tech team. This morning it's Christine and Bob. Yeah, we could clap. Please see the Friday e-news that is sent out by email to learn about events and activities going on this week in our community. I don't know if you saw how many people have been ill lately with COVID and other things, but also worship associate Vicki Warden also took a fall recently. So we wish all of them a speedy recovery. Beginning tonight, join your West Shore friends for Sunday evening concerts at Lakewood Park. These free concerts begin at 7 p.m. each week. And look for the West Shore sign to find our group starting at 6 p.m. Bring a lawn chair or a blanket, picnic if you like. Enjoy an evening of great music and community connection. We hope you will join us. If you have any questions, you can find Diane Alcorn down at Coffee Hour after the service. Once again, welcome. We're glad you're here. Chalice Light reading by Elizabeth Harding. We Unitarian Universalists don't drink from our chalice. Instead, we use it to hold the flame. The circle of the chalice helps keep the fire small. The flame doesn't blind us, it doesn't burn us. It gives us light, so we can see all the different things in the universe, even the invisible ones, because the Unitarian Universalist flame is a light of learning. It is a symbol of learning and of love. It's our symbol, the symbol of Unitarian Universalism. Let us witness to the unity of our spirit by saying together our unison affirmation words. Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. Es el espíritu de esta iglesia y el servicio su ley. Este es nuestro magnífico convenio. vivir juntos en paz, buscar la verdad en el amor y ayudarnos los unos a los otros.
We come to this good morning, remembering the journey of freedom. The land we are on was once another's. We bore the legacies of oppression. Healing is our way forward. Joy is the birthright of all.
And now let us greet each other as feels mutually comfortable. And if you like, you might include a wave to those at home. And now we turn to our first hymn of the day in the Teal Hymnal 1008, When Our Heart is in a Holy Place. Please stand as you're with me.
When we cross the bridge, and we
When I read Reverend Shirley's sermon about squeezing more joy out of life, I thought immediately of this favorite children's book, I'm in Charge of Celebrations by Bird Baylor. I'm not sure if I love this book because she writes like I think, or if I got my attitude from her because it's been a favorite for many, many years. And the book reflects her life in Texas and Arizona. Sometimes people ask me, aren't you lonely out there with just the desert around you? I guess they mean the bear grass and the yuccas and the cactus and the rocks. I guess they mean the deep ravines and the hawk nests and the cliffs and the coyote trails that wind across the hills. Lonely? I can't help laughing when they ask me that. I always look at them surprised. And I say, how could I be lonely? I'm the one in charge of celebrations. Sometimes they don't believe me, but it's true, I am. I put myself in charge. I choose my own. Last year, I gave myself 108 celebrations, besides the one they closed school for. I cannot get by with only a few. Friend, I'll tell you how it works. I keep a notebook and I write the date, and then I write about the celebration. I'm very choosy over what goes in that book. It has to be something I plan to remember the rest of my life. You can tell what's worth a celebration because your heart will pound and you'll feel like you're standing on top of a mountain, and you'll catch your breath like you were breathing some new kind of air. Otherwise, I count it just like an average day. I told you I was choosy. Friend, I wish you'd been here for Dust Devil Day, but since you weren't, I'll tell you how it got to be my first real celebration. You can call them whirlwinds if you want to. Me, I think Dust Devils has a better sound. Well, anyway, I always stop to watch them. Here, everyone does. You know how they come from far away, moving up from the flats, swirling and swaying and falling and turning, picking up sticks and sand and feathers and dry tumbleweeds. Well, last March 11th, we were all going somewhere. I was in the back of the pickup truck when the Dust Devils started to gather. You could see they were giants. You'd swear they were calling their friends to come too, and they came, dancing in time to their own windy music. We all started counting, and we all started looking for more. They stopped that truck, and we turned around and around, watching them all. There were 7. Some of my best celebrations are sudden surprises like that. If you weren't outside at that exact moment, you'd miss them. I spend a lot of time outside myself, looking around. Once, I saw a triple rainbow that ended in a canyon where I'd been the day before. I was halfway up a hill, standing in a drizzle of rain. It was almost dark, but I wouldn't go in because of the rainbows, of course. And there, at the top of the hill, a jackrabbit was standing up on her hind legs, perfectly still, looking straight at that same triple rainbow. I may be the only person in the world who's seen a rabbit standing in the mist, quietly watching 3 rainbows. That's worth a celebration anytime. I wrote it down and drew the hill and the rabbit and the rainbow and me. And now, August 9th is Rainbow Celebration Day. I have Green Cloud Day, too. Ask anybody and they'll tell you clouds aren't green. But late one winter afternoon, I saw this huge green cloud. It was not bluish green or grayish green or something else. This cloud was green, green as a jungle parrot. And the strange thing was that it began to take a parrot's shape. First the wings, then the head and beak. High in the winter sky, that green bird flew. It didn't last more than a minute. You know how fast a cloud can change, but I still remember how it looked. So I celebrate green clouds on February 6th. At times like that, I always think, what if I'd missed it? What if I'd been in the house? Or what if I hadn't looked up when I did? You can see I'm very lucky about things like that. Coyote Day is celebrated on September 28th, but we're going to skip that. Another one of my greatest of all celebrations is called the Time of Falling Stars. It lasts almost a week in the middle of August, and I wait all year for those hot summer nights when the sky goes wild. You can call them meteor showers if you want to. Me, I like to say they're falling stars. All that week I slept outside. I give my full attention to the sky. And every time a streak of light goes shooting through the darkness, I feel my heart shoot out of me. One night, I saw a fireball that left a long, red, blazing trail across the sky. And after it was gone, I stood there looking up, not quite believing what I'd seen. Every August of my life, I'll think of that. Friend, I've saved my New Year celebration until last. Mine is a little different from the one most people have. It comes in spring. To tell the truth, I never did feel like my New Year started January 1st. To me, that's just another winter day. I let my year begin when winter ends and the morning light comes earlier, the way it should. That's when I feel like starting new. I wait until the white-winged doves are back from Mexico, and wildflowers cover the hills, and my favorite cactus blooms. It always makes me think I ought to bloom myself. And that's when I start to plan my New Year celebration. I finally choose a day that is exactly right. Even the air has to be perfect. And the dirt has to feel good and warm on bare feet. Usually it's a Saturday around the end of April. I have a drum that I beat to signal the day. Then I go wandering off, following all of my favorite trails to all of the places I like. I check how everything is doing, and I spend the day admiring things. And friend, it's not a bad party. Walking back home, kind of humming, sometimes I think about those people who ask me if I'm lonely here. I have to laugh out loud.
And when the shadows descend again, give me the eyes to see. And when the silence stills my lips, give me the words to speak, except the things I can't change, and change the things I still can. Give me the wisdom to know the difference. Grant me serenity. Grant me serenity. And when the river is a wall of water, give me the strength to receive. And when the twilight hides the horizon, give me the faith to believe. except the things I can't change, and change the things I still can. Give me the wisdom to know the difference. Grant me serenity. Grant me serenity. Except the things I can't change, and change the things I still can. Give me the wisdom to know the difference. Grant me serenity, and I'll see eternity. Grant me serenity.
Thank you, Acacia. Have you experienced any of the intergenerational activities here at West Shore? I have really enjoyed the game night that takes place on the second Friday evening of the month. I missed it last night. But even if you don't bring a pet to the annual pet blessing, and I know our cats would not appreciate the outing, it is a fun activity to witness. And then I wonder how many of you were at the dance party, the decade dance party. That was so fun, and I've heard talk about there being another one, and I sure hope so. Your financial generosity helps events like these to be possible, so we thank you for your generosity. And now the offering will be given and greatly received.
David is such an excellent pianist and organist. The next song that Acacia is going to sing is The Greatest Love of All, and it's from a movie called The Greatest that came out in 1977. It was about the life of the famous Muhammad Ali. I think he used to say, "Fight like a butterfly, sting like a bee." I wish I could remember some of his lines. It was just so cool. My favorite line in The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston is the opening line when it says, "Let the children's laughter remind us of how we used to be." Acacia?
I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody searching for a hero. People need someone to look up to. Never found anyone to fulfill my need. A lonely place to be. And so I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow. If I fail, if I succeed, at least I've lived as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. It's easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself, it is the greatest love of all.
Good morning, West Shore. Good morning. It's good to be back with you again. In part one of my sermon on June 26, Get the Juice from the Fruit, I ended with some thoughts on love and an invitation for you to imagine the transformative power of love. Today, in part two, I will share with you my own journey of personal growth and self-love and how my life changed after cultivating the virtues of compassion, kindness, generosity, beauty, and gratitude. Mind you, I'm a work in progress. I think most of you would agree that we need help navigating this thing called life. Some start off with parents who are successful, and they're able to get you to a good start. Along the way, you might have a teacher, a friend, or someone who can give you pointers, especially during the times that are difficult. Many stumble across the right books, or movies, or social clubs that help provide enough guidance to get you over the major hurdles. Would you agree that whomever or whatever it is might be viewed as a compass, which is an excellent tool to keep you on track and point you in the right direction? Without a compass, you will lose your way, so you need something. When utilized appropriately, the words you speak can act as a compass. No matter what you say or how you say it, the person who will be impacted most is you. So it is important that you use words that nourish and grow and not destroy and tear down. You are going to hear those words more than anyone, and you're going to feel them. So I invite you to use your words as a compass, a way of guiding you internally in the direction you want to go. Years ago, we used to repeat the following words when someone said something unkind. "Sticks and stones may break your bones, but words will never hurt." Do you remember that? Well, those words were initially stated in the 1800s in a book written by Alexander William Kinglake. And I can only imagine that the context of the words are similar to how they've been taken over the years as an old adage and idiom used to respond to verbal abuse, bullying in school or work, or an insult on any day of our life. But they are wrong. Words do hurt, but the right words can also heal. In my introduction, Judy mentioned that I recently began facilitating Serenity Circles at West Shore and Rocky River Senior Center. The purpose of the circle is to encourage participants to invite more ease into their lives by embracing some of life's virtues. Virtues are often referred to when describing someone's moral integrity or character, with honesty considered to be the best of all. But they are also used to describe a way of life in general. Today's sermon explores 5 virtues that can serve as guidelines for right relationship, love and nurture, emotional healing, grace, and a myriad of other aspects that help you to embody more peace and serenity. Judy read a story this morning about a child who lived in the desert and saw beauty in everything. And beauty is a virtue that can be cultivated. In spite of what others said, to rain on her parade, so to speak, not much rain in the desert, she found a way to get some juice from the fruit by being in charge of celebrations. That child celebrated Green Cloud Day, Coyote Day, Dust Devil Day, and everything else under the sun. And with a little imagination, you can do the same. Just like me. Today, I'm in charge of celebrations, and I invite you to join me in wishing Judy a happy birthday. See how easy that is? Consider the following 5 virtues as a compass or a guiding light when you're looking for some direction or wanting to get more juice from the fruit of life. Once again, beauty, kindness, gratitude, compassion, and generosity. The juice I'm referring to is simply love. When you think you have run out of love, it's likely because you are looking for love in all the wrong places. You can run into trouble when you look for love outside of yourself in other people, careers, places, addictions, and material possessions. I was one of those people. I remember leaving Cleveland in the mid-'70s to move to California with a man on a motorcycle that I barely knew. To make matters worse, I only had one cousin in California that I was halfway close to, so I had no support. Obviously, I had not learned the necessity of having a support system. I married that man on the motorcycle for all the wrong reasons and paid a high price for that. There were no sticks and stones to break my bones, but as the marriage began to deteriorate, the words he hurled at me caused quite a bit of emotional damage, which took some years to recover from. It took a while for me to learn that the only way I could escape the cycle of abuse I found myself in was to learn to love myself. And Acacia's song, The Greatest Love of All, speaks to learning to love yourself and appreciating that. Until then, instead of healing the pain, I spent a lot of time just rearranging the furniture. And what that means is just one relationship after another, hoping that something would change. It doesn't work that way. But something inside of me knew not to quit and knew I could not give up on myself. I knew there was more juice in the fruit. And so, after I licked my wounds, I looked for paths to healing so that I could have a better life. Initially, it was every self-help book I could get my hands on. Therapy was out of the question, though it may have been a faster route, but I was too ashamed to admit to someone else how badly damaged I was. Eventually, I started letting people in and listened to what they had to say, but I still wasn't sharing much about myself. I tried different churches and found it hard to relate to those who were steeped in sin and damnation. After all, I was beating myself up bad enough, and I didn't need their help. I can remember the day that I became aware that something had to change and that it would have to begin with me. One Sunday after church, I went through a line, just like we do here, to greet the minister, Reverend O.C. Smith, at the Church of the Angels in Los Angeles. That's where I was living then. You may remember him from a popular song that came out back in the 70s called Little Green Apples. I liked that church, not only for all of the celebrities who attended. I know that's shallow. But I also liked it for the types of classes they offered on personal growth. And at the time, I was depressed and downhearted while struggling with the loss of my father, the loss of my job, and the loss of a relationship that was near and dear to me, all within a few months of each other during the summer of '86. The summer of '86 was a tough year. While going through the line, I tried to be invisible, so I kept my head bowed low and mumbled something to everyone who extended an outstretched hand. So you can imagine people extending their hand, and I'm going, hello, 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 and not looking anybody in the eye. I don't think I looked at anyone until I got to the last person in line. And when I finally looked up, it was as though I was looking into the face of an angel. There before me was the most magnificent woman I had ever met. When I shook her hand, I felt as though I had been touched by an angel. That was almost 40 years ago, but I still remember it like it was yesterday. She told me her name was Jewel Diamond Taylor. And after we spoke for a few moments, she invited me to attend her sister circles that were held once a month. She said the focus was on self-esteem, and since that time, she has earned the title of the Self-Esteem Doctor. Even though I did not know that I was lacking in self-esteem, I accepted her invitation because I felt that anything that could move me out of the funk that I was in could not be too bad. But truthfully speaking, I didn't even know what self-esteem was. But I believed that whatever she had to offer, it was going to be all right. I remember the thought I had the moment we met, and it was, oh my God. She looks like a healthy version of me. And for years, people would note our resemblance, and for years, I secretly wanted to be just like her. That was not very wise. There I was, a woman with no identity who did not know her own worth, trying to live in someone else's shoes. I did not realize how that kind of thinking was pushing me further and further away from loving myself until many years had passed. When I finally became aware of my inclination to self-sabotage by comparing myself to others, I woke up and realized that I had to find my own identity. By that time, I was well on my way to better days, catching myself in little acts of betrayal and learning to accept myself, warts and all. Still a work in progress. There are many roads to get to where you want to go. And for me, it was a spiritual journey that got me there. For the most part, the compass that provided the most light and insight was the one that pointed me in the direction of self-compassion. Once I realized how much I was beating up on myself before anyone else could even get to me, my story began to change. As I began giving the love to myself that I had been so busy trying to give to others, I started attracting more people into my life who were beautiful, kind, gracious, generous, and compassionate. All I can say is, what a difference a day makes. In time, I found myself resonating more with peace, love, and joy instead of fear and struggle. I grew stronger in my capacity to release negativity and embrace more good. Slowly but surely, I built up my spiritual reserves and had enough fuel in my tank to contribute from my growing sense of fullness. That feeling of not enough began to dissolve, and I got better at living my life well. But do know this, I was no overnight sensation. I shed a lot of tears and stripped a lot of layers of pain before developing a sense of inner authenticity. So, if you want more juice from the fruit and more joy in your life, pay attention to these 13 words. The greatest threat to your happiness and wholeness is your unrecognized spiritual needs. I'll say it again. The greatest threat to your happiness and wholeness is your unrecognized spiritual needs. If that is true, then perhaps there is some merit in the understanding that we are spiritual beings having a human experience. And if that is true, then I say there are spiritual needs that are not being met when you experience a sense of lack in some form or fashion. What if that void could be filled by having a transcendent spiritual experience? Something that would transform you and realign you with your good. Something that would help you to experience more joy in your life that cannot be bought at Whole Foods, Walmart, Starbucks, Costco, or any of your favorite want haunts. What if you were to seek out those experiences on a regular basis so that you could feed that need for happiness and wholeness? What if you filled your life with beauty, gratitude, compassion, kindness, and generosity? How would that change you? Have you ever been touched by something so beautiful that it literally opened your heart and caused you to change your ways? Or found yourself longing to bring beauty into the world through the arts in some form or fashion? Or perhaps you are transformed by the beauty of nature, the beauty of a newborn, the beauty of a poem, song, painting, and even a person. You don't have to go to faraway places to make that connection. You don't have to try and find something on the internet that blows your mind, or hope that the next spiritual retreat you attend opens you like none other to show you the beauty inside yourself. Nope. You can simply open your front door and look around at the abundance of nature and all there is to offer. If you step outside your door after the rain and pick up a leaf to look at the single raindrop that is sitting there, you will find yourself moving from observation to contemplation. This one single act can move you from the intellect into the heart space and inspire a profound moment of awe. As small as that act may be, it is a meditative moment, a way of thinking that is reverent and full of grace. It is a holy instant. In the words of Matthew Fox, beauty saves, beauty heals, beauty motivates, beauty unites, beauty returns us to our origins, and here lies the ultimate act of saving, of healing, of overcoming dualism. Beauty allows us to forget the pain and dwell on the joy. Matthew Fox. Through the power of beautiful words, we create space for serenity in our minds and lives by lightening our emotional load. I invite you right now to say these 3 words to yourself over and over again, and then notice how you feel. First, I just suggest that you take a deep breath in and release, and say these 3 words to yourself, or if you want to say them out loud, it's fine. Peace, tranquility, serenity. Peace, tranquility, serenity. Now take another deep breath in and release. When you are stressed, just say those 3 words over and over again for 2 minutes. Call it a prayer, call it a mantra. They are simply 3 beautiful words that can move you from a state of distress to a place of calm. So, just so you know, much of what I'm saying to you today is not new. You already know it. I'm just trying to help you to remember what you already know. So there are many ways to up the level of joy in your life, and one way that many of you engage on a regular basis is to practice gratitude. For some, it is difficult to practice gratitude when there appears to be nothing to be grateful for. Please note that the key word is appears, because that is the truth of the matter. There is always something to be grateful for, no matter how difficult your journey is or your current situation. There are many ways to practice: keeping a gratitude journal, contemplating blessings before bed, or saying thanks before eating. Whatever works for you is just fine. And during the day, when you start to flag, taking a moment to notice the good in your life will perk you right up. In Islamic spirituality, the heart is the main focus of spirituality. Try the simple technique of touching your heart as often as possible in your daily life, especially when expressing gratitude. Every morning, touch your heart and express gratitude to your Creator. Or touch your heart and simply be silent. When you do this exercise, think about what experiences in your life have brought you closer to presence, mystery, spirit, or God, so that you deepen your practice of gratitude. So there were these two men talking about how they express gratitude. And one said, "I say grace before every meal." He was pretty emphatic about it. This was his way. The other man looked at him and said, "You say grace before meals. All right, but I say grace before the concert and the opera, and grace before the play and pantomime, and grace before I open a book, and grace before sketching, painting, swimming, fencing, boxing, walking, playing, dancing, and grace before I dip the pen in ink." I can imagine him saying, "How you like those apples?" And if you want to keep it simple, just look for the sacred deep within the ordinary. You might find it in the sweetness of your coffee, the tasty bread on your table, a hot shower, or a hug from your grandchild. Whatever you do, never miss a chance to praise what is good, and then let the rest go by. Embodying beauty and expressing gratitude will surely fill your joy cup along with compassion, kindness, and generosity. The practice of compassion increases your capacity to care. It reinforces charity, empathy, and sympathy. It is a very good exercise for your heart muscle. But when you move toward others with compassion, you are likely to bump into some common attitudes, just waiting to close your heart again. The usual suspects are judgment and all its associated isms, racism, sexism, ageism, classism, and nationalism. On a personal level, your compassion is sabotaged by feelings of ill will toward others, spite, and malice. These feelings and others arising out of emotional wounds and personal pain are actually symptoms indicating that you need to have compassion for yourself. Our tendency is to give it away to others, but while in the process of doing so, we neglect ourselves. In order to keep your supply full, it is important to start with yourself, or you will not have anything to give to others. It's the same old axiom echoed by flight attendants for years and years. Before you put on the oxygen mask for someone else, put your own oxygen mask on, and then you can help others. You may have noticed that we are losing some of our civilized ways of interacting with each other, and among the casualties is a value for kindness and gentleness. Those who appreciate gentleness value the softly spoken word, the tender touch, the warm embrace, and the kind, approving gesture. When you are in the presence of holy people, it is the power of their gentleness that moves you the most. Their quiet way of being, deeply present with others, outweighs all of the words of wisdom. They may speak, and all the cleverness, creativity, and magic that may take place around them. It is their consideration of others that brings forth their fullest presence. If you want to live with more joy in your life, find a way to share kindness. If you wonder who, when, and how to help, just look at the person in front of you. Do for her what she needs done now. It may be a little thing, but little things do count. As I bring this sermon to a close and reflect on the 5 virtues that have helped me to find more juice in the fruit of life, I think about how each one has also helped me to heal and to be more real. Compassion and self-compassion helps you to connect with others and to yourself. Have mercy. Gratitude for it all, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Believe that it's all working together for your highest and best good. Generosity of spirit allows you to give from a place of fullness, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally, and financially. Loving kindness creates a sense of connection and warmth that generates all kinds of loving vibrations. Seeing beauty when there seems to be no beauty to be seen allows you to appreciate people whose hearts are open and their spirit shines regardless of how they look, and knowing you don't need a stitch of rich to be beautiful. Please remember, during times of difficulty, be kind to yourself. In other words, row, row, row your boat gently down the stream and heed the words of Ram Dass. We're all just walking each other home. We're all just walking each other home. And so it is. Please stand as you are willing and able and join in singing hymn number 1029, Love Knocks and Waits for Us to Hear.
Amen.
be seated. Now, those of you at home, bring your chalice close to extinguish it as I extinguish the chalice here. We extinguish our flames, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry with us until we meet again.
Remember, coffee hour, which starts at 11:30, and I will see you at the sermon chat at 12 o'clock in the chapel. And now the benediction. May you be inspired to build a life that is conducive to peace, tranquility, and serenity. Make choices that invite peace into your life. Get the juice from the fruit and live a meaningful, joy-filled life that reflects your virtues and your values. And so may it be. See you next week, West Shore. Until then, love, encourage, and cheer to all. Thank you.